Howdy all, this is Shane. Welcome to part 2 of my rig and gear rundown. I did upload a pedal sample recently, but I didn't really like what I did and it was a bit of a mess, so I redid it with this video, including my amplifiers as well. So let's take a look at the amps I currently have and how I use them, and in combination with pedals, all that kind of stuff as well. You might be surprised how little I have left in the way of amplifiers. But anyway, we're gonna go through what I have and take a look at the speakers, the settings, that kind of stuff as well. So let's start. All right, so this is my amplifier collection. 2 amps, that's it. I've got a Fender Mustang 3 over here and the Fender Blues Deluxe reissue amplifier here as well. The Fender Blues Deluxe was an amp I had years ago that I absolutely loved, and I sold it when I started getting confused on what I was thinking I was going to get out of other amps. And I ended up just getting another one. I've done that a few times with amps. Recently I bought a Yorkville Traynor amp, and it's a great amp, just not really for me, and I'd already had one of those as well in the past. The only other amp I can sort of foresee myself rebuying down the track is a Supersonic 60, but the problem with them is they're just really, really heavy. This is kind of like a great blend between volume and sort of fullness, I guess, and the clean on this is absolutely rocking. I absolutely love the clean on the Blues Deluxe, and you know, I have changed the speaker in the back. I'm running a Eminence Swamp Thing speaker, which is an awesome speaker, and I run it in both amps now as well. So it might be a bit hard to see, but I'll do a close-up of the speaker in the back, and it's really taken the amp to the next level. I'd put this up against any boutique amp on clean and it would absolutely it would just sound as good. It absolutely does. I've heard it against some really nice amps as well, and you know, this is as fat as it gets with this speaker in there. It's a really great upgrade for 150 bucks in Australia, or 130 bucks, whatever they're worth, I can't remember. It's just one of those upgrades that I think Blues Deluxe amplifiers need. Some people love the stock speaker, but for me they're too spiky. They're not fat and full enough, and you know, I just don't like them. I'm not a huge fan, but yeah, the Eminence speakers are great. And my friend Brian actually has one of these, and he's got an ET65 in his, and it sounds massive as well. So what can I say? A speaker upgrade is the way to go. And yeah, he actually said his clean on his Blues Deluxe sounds better than his Fuchs. So, you know, that's a pretty big statement. Now, the way that I run this is pretty simple. I run the bass and mids on around 7, somewhere around 7 or 8. And I have the treble, depending on the room, somewhere between 5 and 7, somewhere around there. And the presence is usually on about 4. It just wasn't on there right now. Reverb is about 3, and I run the clean channel at whatever volume I need to. Now, the drive channel on this amp doesn't sound too bad with the new speaker, but you know what? It's funny going back to the clean channel after using the drive channel. It's so much better. So I live on the clean channel with my pedals, and we'll get to the pedals a little bit later, but I also have the bright switch off most of the time. I only use the bright switch if I'm recording and I need a little bit more high end, but yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's all stock. I did have the new handle put on at one point because the day after I bought it, the handle broke, as in the rubber part, not the, you know, the steel parts, but yeah, it's all stock minus the speaker, and the speaker makes it sound a whole lot better. All right, over to the Fender Mustang 3. Now, as you know, I've been a huge ambassador, I guess, for Fender Mustang amps. I think I helped put them on the map somewhat on YouTube and on the internet in terms of what they were capable of and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people dismiss these until they hear them, and then they generally go out and buy one and replace their Blues Junior or replace their whatever amp they've got, because they realize these are serious amps, like 100-watt amps at a bargain of a price. They're super light, and at the moment, as you can see, I've got the Eminence Swamp Thing, the Patriot speaker, in the back, and It does make the amp maybe a little bit heavier, maybe a quarter heavier again, but you know, the tone speaks for itself. These speakers just add a lot more oomph and thickness to the tone. And not so much, it's just all bass frequency. It's like you're getting a fat presence sort of overtone on the notes as well. So you can play some high notes and it's going to sound like there's a lower note coming out of the amp as well. I really like that about this. And when I use these live, I still mix up the presets depending on what guitar I've got. I'm mostly living on the supersonic presets still. I really like those. But my default one is the custom 68 Deluxe. I really like that. It's loaded with, I think I put a tube screamer on there or an overdrive pedal or something from memory, and it sounds great. And then I'll just go through to my latest ones, which were my INTHEBLUES Telecaster, INTHEBLUES Les Paul, and INTHEBLUES Strat settings because you know, they play themselves. I don't use any other pedals with this amp other than the 4-button foot switch, so I just plug directly into, use this directly into that. Occasionally I use my wah pedal, but I don't actually use any external effects with the amp. Everything that I use is in here, and it's proven to work for me time and time again. I plug into this, I could use this at gigs, or I could take it to a jam night, and I know it's going to sound good. I don't have to worry about fiddling around with volume or pedals or anything. It's very, very consistent, which is a great thing. So yeah, absolutely rocks. And I guess we're going to have a bit of a play test on these as well and just show you how they sound. All right, let's just give this a quick shot. This is the Fender Mustang on the 68 Custom Deluxe preset on, well, just off clean. Anyone who thinks that doesn't sound good needs to seriously check these out because I love it. This is with the overdrive on. Cool. Overdrive off with some modulation. If you've watched the Mustang Monday videos, you're going to know that sound. And with the delay on. And with some stomp box. Alright, over to my Fender Blues Deluxe reissue amplifier, and this is the clean tone with the volume only on about 2. Now this particular pedal board has been the same for quite some time, and it's never let me down really. Like, I love all the effects. This is with the Paramount overdrive on, which is sort of like an off clean overdrive. Now for me, I used to run that all the time, but now I actually turn it off from time to time because I'm playing a lot cleaner. So I'll use the Maxon Overdrive Pro for most of my solos. I love this pedal. I think this is just fantastic. And this is the Klon KTR, which is a bit more of an edgier overdrive. It's got shitloads of output as well. So it's running pretty clean, but the benefit of it is if I'm running like the Paramount Emerson on, then I hit the Klon. It's a really good stacking pedal. And this is the DD7 on digital delay I think I'm on. Yep. And I actually have a second delay pedal, which is the analog delay pedal, the AD10 by Maxon. It's a great pedal as well. It's sort of like the less obvious delay of the two. Now, if you're wondering what tuner I have, it's the chromatic tuner, the TU2 from Boss. Boss tuners, can't go wrong, nice and simple, easy to see. Even with my production lights on right now, I'm sure you can still see the lights because I can see it really, really clearly. Now, I also run a GCB95F wah pedal. It's all stock. I absolutely love this thing. I've had it for years and it's kind of a smooth sounding wah, both on clean and with gain. I think it sounds great. So this is the clean tone. With a little delay. I actually use my right foot on this normally, but the way I'm recording this, it's kind of tough. And this is with some drive. I'll just put the Maxon overdrive on. With some delay, let's go the analog delay. My tuner also mutes my signal, which I think is an important thing to have when you're tuning up. And this over here is the Relay G30 wireless pack from Line 6, which, you know what, I don't use it that much, but the way that I have my board set up, it fits perfectly, and the times that I do use it, maybe once or twice a year, you know, I absolutely love it. So that's what I use live. I've used these pedals for quite some time. I do have a smaller board as well, which I also recently just put a video up for. It's called Things I Use Live, and it's the small board. So if I don't take this board out with me, I take the other board out and it sounds great. So yeah, both boards are reliable. They do a very similar thing to each other. And this is the small board I was just talking about. So I've got a small tuner, a Maxon Overdrive 808, which is great. The Zentastic Pedal of Babylon pedal, awesome. And the Shaky Jimmy, which is my one and only modulation pedal. It's a really cool vibe pedal, and it's also got chorus in there as well, and the Tone City tape machine, which I absolutely love. And yeah, so that's my other board. It's kind of like a real simple version of what I've got on my other one. It doesn't have the wireless pack. I usually still bring the wah pedal with it as well. And that's pretty much what I'm using. If you want to hear this, I'll put an annotation on the screen. You can click through and have a listen to how that sounds with the amp as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. It sounds good, and what can I say? It's, you know, it does the job. Sometimes I do try new things on my board, but it's generally only if I know that it's going to replace something for the better and that it works with everything else. Otherwise, I don't do it anymore. But yeah, that's what I'm sort of using right now. There is one more pedal that I've got recently that may replace one of these overdrives. I'm in the testing process of that, so I'll keep you in suspense until I do some more testing with my own gear. But yeah, it's a really interesting thing coming back to things that I know how they sound and what I'm going to get out of them, because I then don't have to worry about my tone. I'm just, you know, I can focus on my playing. Anytime I put a new piece of gear on my board, I'm listening more to my sound than to what I'm trying to play, and it's really distracting for me. It might not be that way for a lot of people, but for me, I'm always analyzing my sound, and I know with this particular rig, I can, you know, put it on the ground and get a sound that I really like, that's not too over the top dirty unless I need it to be, and it still sounds full and fat on the clean channel of my amp, and then I can just focus on, you know, on the gig rather than criticizing my own tone in my head. So yeah, I should also note I have the reverb on the amp at about 3, so it's not over the top. It's not over the top wet, but it's there enough that you can hear it. Thanks for watching. My name's Shane, and if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions about the video or the pedals or any combination of how I use any of this stuff, please let me know. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you want to also head over to my forum at INTHEBLUES.net, there's a whole bunch of us talking about gear, all that kind of stuff. My amplifier collection has definitely been stripped down. The main reason is I want to keep it as simple as I can. I did sell off my Deluxe reverb amplifiers mostly because I really loved that sort of big fullness of the 6L6 tubes. And the 6V6 tubes sound great when pushed, but you know, for me personally, I really like the fat, big, clean kind of Deluxe reverb tone. It's nice and fat. They're all great. I mean, a Deluxe reverb's a fantastic amp and it sounds great, but I find sometimes like having that extra oomph is a really cool thing. So that's what I've got. I've got the Mustang, got the Blues Deluxe, my pedals, nice and simple, and that's pretty much it. I've changed amps a few times over the years. I actually bought a 2-Rock a few weeks ago. It had some problems. You know, after comparing it also to my Blues Deluxe, there wasn't that much in it once I changed the speaker out, which is, you know, an interesting thing as well. The 2-Rock definitely had more articulation on certain notes, but, you know, whether it was better is subjective as well. So, you know, rather than going around in circles, for me now, it's all about just using what I got, getting the best out of it, and, you know, being familiar with it. So if I do go ahead and buy another amp, it'll be something that's very simple, something that I know that works extremely well. It does something a little different, but also something very similar. So I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's the way I'm thinking. It's what I'm trying not to do these days is to get in a situation where my pedals don't work with a particular amp because of the way that that particular amp works or whatever. I just want to keep it as simple as I can. So whatever amp I'll end up with in the future, when the time comes, it'll have a great clean channel, which I can use my pedals for. Might be a super reverb. That might be my next amp. Who knows? I've been thinking about one of them for a long, long time. But anyway, it's all about the good clean tone for me now. The big fullness of the clean tone. When you hit the drive channel on the Blues Deluxe, you sort of feel everything shrink a little bit. So I'm playing cleaner and all my effects work extremely well to my ear with what I've got. And that's what it's all about. It's all about finding your own tone. And I did post recently a video of me playing a guitar solo for a recording. That's all I used was the stuff on the big board going into my Joyo American Sound instead of using my amplifier. I think the results speak for themselves there as well. So this has been recorded, minus my shirt mic. All the audio of the amp was coming from my video camera, so hopefully that's not too bad. If it is, I'm screwed. I'm gonna have to do the whole thing again. But anyway, let's hope for the best. And thanks for watching. And if you want to speak to me, you can head over to intheblues.net. You can leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Catch you soon. See ya.